spring, whatever. Okay, did that, and the roundy thing on, hold in that, and off we go. So you need to know your animals. Pigs, as I said, they breed most of the year. Well, I think they don't breed during the winter, but they breed for most of the year, so it's just a matter of keeping them fed. And for pigs, have an animal trailer, because you're going to be making frequent trips to the bacon merchant. Best breeding pig, let's go back to... Oh, I would have to go to a pig farm. Hang on. The pig farm is just down the street. So this is known as, but this breed of pig is fast-growing animal but requires a high amount of capital for the initial purchase. So expensive pig, but they breed like crazy. The spotted pig is the other female pig, and grows relatively fast. It's cheaper, but these you're looking for them to breed new ones and then sell the new ones. Typically what I do initially is build up a breeding stock and sell the males, and then at some point I'm just going to say, okay, 100 pigs is as much as I can handle. We're just going to sell what's left over when they get old enough, and you'll watch the price going up. These ones are, you're buying them young, they don't breed because they're male. It's slow growing but much cheaper to purchase, very hardy and great for the starting farmer. The Berkshire is fast growing and probably is going to eat a fair amount. But you could buy these because they're going to grow faster, and so they're going to realize more money. Now you can see that if I go back to my sheep, which are currently living here. So if I go here, you can see this is a very young sheep, 0.3 years, it's £284 to sell. Female sheep, same age, same weight, 284. I may have some. There's a 0.3 year sheep male, 107, 298. So you can see for an extra £10, £15, I'm getting about $10 more. If we get to some of my older sheep, there's one for £120, 300. 133, 326. 114, 306. The females are generally lighter than the males. If we go to our oldest sheep, 1.9 years, 151 pounds, 339. So this is sort of a point where you're looking at it and saying, how much do I want for my new pigs or my new sheep or my new whatevers? And so going back to the top, this sheep is worth 280, and I might say, well, I want to get 350 for my sheep, so let's wander down and see what we find. Actually, sheep don't go to 350, so, oh no, they do. So these are 1.3 years old, 375, 2.3 years old, 338. So already you can see this is the ideal sheep. Now they're going to start getting less valuable as they get older. The weight drops off. It's 2.3. That's 150 pounds. But maybe you look at it and say, round about 150 pounds, I'm getting 370 for a. No, that's. Keep missing. There's 150 pounds. So I'm getting about 339 per sheep that I sell. So maybe I want to get my sheep up to about 150 pounds. So looking here, this is a little bit short, maybe around half a year old. I might consider selling that, and I'll get 350 for it. So that's kind of how sheep stuff works. Then we have to turn that back on, turn that back on, turn that back on. Oh, that's okay. I'm actually here to answer questions as much as I am to have fun playing the game. The only thing about courseplay is right, yeah. So you can use courseplay. But yeah, I did actually do some science on Ravenport on how much seed it takes to plant stuff. And I think as a general rule, potatoes is something like 10 times the amount of seed that planting wheat takes. And wheat isn't the most efficient. Canola is the most efficient crop. Wheat takes twice as much as canola, and oilseed radish takes half as much as canola. So oilseed radish is a very efficient crop when it comes to planting a field, and you get a level of fertilization. What I haven't scienced yet is the precision farming, how much nitrogen oilseed radish adds in, because it's just going to be a flat amount. You're not going to have any control. It's going to be, 50 units every time you do it, as a random number off the top of my head. One thing to remember about the BGA and selling manure and slurry to it and using the digestate, there is a loss in volume. So yes, you make money, but you get back less than you put in. Initially, you might look at it and say, it's more efficient for me to use my own slurry and manure, but you're going to be using slurry, you're going to be making slurry and manure throughout the whole year. You're only going to be using it probably in the fall. I mean, typically, once I've cleared this field, I'd be getting the slurry spreader out and spreading on this field and being done with it. Now, because I'm planning to introduce precision farming to this playthrough, I want to get all my fields harvested, add precision farming in, and then figure out all of the manure spreading and the likes, where manure means, slurry manure and digestate. So yeah, that's kind of the thing. So yes, you don't get as much digestate out of the BGA as you put manure into it. And if you're running tight on the amount of manure you need, then you might want to use it straight from the pig. Straight from the pigs rather than process it through the digester. I mean, the thing is with pigs is you don't need silage, so you could. That's kind of a downside. You don't need silage. You also don't need grass. So, why would you have a grass field and grass handling equipment? On this farm, because sheep was from the get-go. We're going to have sheep on this farm. I needed the grass handling equipment, and so we're making grass. And obviously in the first year, the sheep ate through 30 bales of hay, and as you can see, we created 108. So the majority of our grass production went to silage, went down to the BGA, made us money through the first year, and also provided us with digestate for the first fall. More recently, the sheep have been consuming more of the stuff, more of the hay. Hay? Yeah, more of the grass product. So there's been less grass product available to make into silage to sell at the BGA. So the entirety of that last harvest, 30 bales of silage and 108 bales of hay, and I still need more hay for next year. So, you know, the full cut of grass, I might be able to put 100 as silage, but I'm still going to have to keep back 30 to 50 for hay. It is what it is, but pigs don't need hay. Pigs need straw if you want to make manure, and that's kind of the challenge. You know, some people like to have slurry around. However, animals that need straw are healthier if they have it, and so they're going to be more productive. They're going to put on more weight. So, you know, it's kind of a challenge. Maybe you don't want to produce slurry just because you want healthier animals. But that means you'll need to grow wheat or barley, and you're going to need that if you're going to feed the pigs with the wheat or barley. Now, one thing to consider on that count is, let's go, is it big bags? Yeah. Pig food's £1,000 per pallet for 1,000 litres. Okay. I'm saving money feeding my sheep barley, because barley's only 500 or 436. Well, call it 500. I can feed the sheep 1,000 litres or 2,000 litres of barley for the same price as it costs to buy a big bag, even if I'm using the potato thing and producing my own premium pig food. It can be worthwhile feeding the pigs barley, and I've heard the suggestion barley is better because barley is slightly more you get slightly more volume from barley than you do wheat. Now, it's only by a couple of %, but you know, let's say you harvest part of a field, you get 1,000 litres of wheat, you would get 1,005, 1,010 litres of barley. So if you're using your own crop for food, then grow barley to feed the sheep, grow wheat to sell to the public, and keep the straw off both. But conversely, now let's go the other way, not that one, that one. So that's wheat and barley. Wheat and barley, much lower value than the cost of pig food. On this playthrough, I'm growing sunflowers, I'm growing soybeans. What else can you feed them? That's cotton, isn't it? So sunflower, soybeans, they're worth more than 1,000. It's much better to sell that to market. Corn, use your own. If you have the equipment, use your own. Fill up the feed troughs, and I believe that the pig food fills up the rest. So, you know, use the low value crops to feed the pigs, and sell the high value crops and buy pig food, because you're still going to make a profit on it. That, as I said, that's my understanding. So, worth considering. But you're making your own pig food. But your pig food will go further if you, yeah, sell the valuable crop and grow the other, yeah, grow the cheap stuff. The other thing is, when you're starting up you're going potatoes, so you're going to need a potato harvester. They're expensive. Tractor hauled potato harvester, not quite so expensive. Pain in the butt to use, but not so expensive, and you can course play it or helper it. I used a helper on Mercury Farms and was perfectly satisfied with what the helper did, harvesting all the potatoes, and he did a better job than I would have done. So, hey, yay for that. But don't go overboard. On this farm, I decided I was going to do sunflowers, and so I bought a Helianthus header. I'm never going to do corn on this farm. Nothing I've got needs corn. I don't need to make corn silage, so corn's not an issue. I'm not buying a corn header. But if I were doing corn, then I've got to think, well, do I want to buy a corn header because that's going to eat into my initial money, and maybe for the first year I just do canola and cereal crops and potatoes, and at the end of the first year when I get my income, I can then sit down and think, well, do I want to branch into corn, or do I want to branch into sunflowers, or whatever, but introduce new crops because you have the money to buy the equipment you need to harvest them. Don't just go for broke at the beginning and just say, I'm going to harvest everything. First year I'm just not going to do sunflowers because that's another header for the harvester. First year I'm not going to do sunflowers because it's another planter. You can't plant sunflowers from the cereal planter. But again, because I decided I'm going to do sugar beets, I need a planter to plant the sugar beets, and it uses the same planter as a corn or a sunflower planter. So going sunflowers as well. So I'm already buying the planter, so go. Oh yes, I saw that, and yay. I did, was it earlier this year? It might have been earlier this year. I went on YouTube to look up real world potato harvesting, and that's how they do it. They have a harvester that runs down the field and just dumps the potatoes in a row. And so you do it like the grass merger, the Kuhn merger, where you merge everything out on the right hand side. So you go up the field and it's merged on the right hand side, and then you come back again and you're merging it on the right hand side. So you're building a double windrow. And that's what this potato planter was doing. It's just running down the field, dropping all the potatoes in a row on the right hand side, and then when they came back and did the next row, they were dropping all the potatoes where they'd just dropped the previous row. So it's a double thickness, or whatever, a double quantity row, and then they go through later with a collector and they just pick it all up. And that's where the 1 meter wide harvester comes into play, because that's nearly done. Let's take that down to the end of the field, because you can just you're not worried about digging 3 foot of or 3 meters of stuff out of the ground in the harvester. You're interested in picking up a windrow of potatoes. That was quite impressive, but I thought, that's the thing that Farm Sim is missing, is a wide potato harvester that's just digging in the ground and sucking up the potatoes and shaking the dirt off, and then just dropping them at the side of the row. Yes, you will need a, and I'm guessing if you do it right, you could probably run 2 or 3 tractors as needed to do the unload. And that's typically how a UK farm will work. They'll have a harvester, and tractor pulls up alongside, unloads the harvester. As soon as the tractor's full, it runs off, and the next tractor's already on the field ready to go. So the harvester's never stopping, and you've got exactly enough tractors and carts to drive from the field to the farm and back again, and keep them in constant motion too. Okay, that's full. I should probably not have gone that way. That was a very bad plan. Definitely a bad plan. I know what we can do. Might not have a lot of horsepower, but it's certainly got a lot of weight. Seem to recall us doing something like this a couple of weeks ago. Well, no, probably last week. And we were selling the thing. Yeah, I have. It's something I've been far more aware of with Farm Sim 19, but for Farm Sim 17, initially I was just downloading everything, and that's kind of a bad plan because some mods don't play well together, and other times it's just it just takes too long for the game to load because it's got to load all the mods that you've selected to play with. I think that didn't fix anything. But for the most part, I would recommend the mods you use, pick them. And pick the ones you want in each playthrough. Come on. Okay. We've unhitched that. So on this farm, actually everything you see on the screen at the moment is a mod. And the 2 tractors are by the same modder, CMT Software. Did those. The Bailey trailer's a mod. The Fent was for Farm Sim 17 a mod. I think it was native in 15. But it was basically a mod by Giants that resprayed the Massey Ferguson harvester green. But outside of that, it was pretty much the same thing. So yeah, my initial game setup is 15 to 20 minutes. I'm just going through the mod list and saying, okay, which mods do I want to add to this playthrough? It would be nice, I think, for those of us who do play with excessive numbers of mods, to have a preferred list. There are some mods I just want on my playthrough every time. And so what I really want to be able to do is to say, these are the mods I always want, check them off, and leave that as a mod preferred list that just adds to every single playthrough I run. And then after that, I can go through the rest of the mod list and just say, okay, here's all the other mods, which ones do I want to play with? But I am very selective. I've probably only got probably 15 to 20 mods on this playthrough. got some of the, I've got most of the DLC, but most of the mods I don't bother selecting this time. Oh, engine turned off on me. Come on. Oh, go, go, go. Yes. Okay, do not drive on fence posts there. Yeah, I just removed the straw harvest on this map because I have a suspicion that that's what was screwing up my grass fields dying off in winter and having to be completely ploughed in and replanted every year. Okay, that's good. And for Ungut's-Heim, I just, the only thing I've got, I think, is a Zeta tractor pack, because I wanted cheap small farm equipment, so I'm running around with a little 100 horsepower 2-wheel drive ancient Eastern European tractor, and it's absolutely perfect for what I'm doing because the fields are small, and I don't need 10-meter wide bits of equipment. 3's adequate.
And I turn on the computer and then go make my bed and then get dressed.
Yes. Yeah, this map's a little interesting on the factor of hedgerows. Some of them have dry stone walls in, some of them have fences like that one, and some of them are just hedges like this one here. And if it's just a hedge, I'll just drive straight through it. And then wrap myself around the gatepost. No. Yeah, there's a little bit of inconsistency on the what's an image and what's an object. Or objects being something you can crash into, images being something that just there's a delay on that. Right, there we go. Objects you can crash into, images are just, they look nice. Some of the telephone poles on this map are, you can drive through them so that workers don't get all crazy on you, because ploughing a field or cultivating a field, the workers just get annoyed with obstacles in the middle of the field, whereas others along the side of the road are objects that you can crash into, and there's a little bit of inconsistency as to, at least on this map, which one's which. But yes, there is... Whoa! Miss me. There is something to be said for map makers who do embed other mods into their maps. However, that can result in giants not passing the map for the mod hub, because you're using a package of mods. It's not too much of an issue. For example, with Mercury Farms, the actually I don't have to go up there because the harvester's empty. With Mercury Farms, it contained all of the buildings and everything else, and Alien Jim came along later and extracted all of the buildings into a buildings pack, but he made all of the mods. I think more recently the the farming agency has some very nice adjusted maps where they've gone to the map maker and said, oh, is it okay if we enhance your map? And the map makers are generally, yeah, great, but they've got all these other mods embedded, and I think some of their maps just